Listeners, you are onto the Fortunes Radio on 99.3 frequency modulation Kaduna. I am Balarabe Zaria with this week's edition of the Weekend News Review today. In today's edition, we have news, correspondence reports, a review of some major events of the outgoing week. In today's package, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has described the current inflation in Nigeria as alarming and has entered into fatal stage. It was during the week the Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalle, traveled to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on official engagement. The visit was aimed at solidifying security ties with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the areas of counter-terrorism. It was also during the week Zamfara state government has conducted local government election, with opposition parties describing the election that lacks credibility, free, fair election. Also, as the world marks the 2024 International Children's Day, the federal government and the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, have launched the summary of the 2024 updated situation analysis of children and adolescents in Nigeria. But before all this, let me invite Zinatu Ahmed to give us an update on today's Global Fortunes news.
The Northern Elders Forum has rejected the tax reform bill, calling it a policy conceived in bad faith and warning that it threatens national cohesion. The group criticized the manner of its implementation, alleging that key stakeholders, including members of the National Economic Council, were sidelined during the process. The convener of the forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, in a communique yesterday after the forum's board of trustees' second biannual meeting in Abuja, warned against dubious policies that could further marginalize the Northern's resource potential. The Nigerian Labour Congress has reiterated that its December 1st deadline for all states to implement the new minimum wage still stands. It could be recalled that on July 2024, President Bola Tinubu signed the minimum wage bill into law. The legislation increased the country's minimum wage from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira. The union mandated its members to embark on an indefinite strike in states where the new minimum wage is yet to be implemented of the deadline. Some of the states that are yet to make their stand are Zamfara, Sokoto, Cross Rivers, and Nasarawa. Several northern groups have declared support for the suspended chairman of the Ariwa Consultative Forum, Mamman Usman, following his statement that the region will back a candidate from the north against President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. Usman had on Wednesday declared that the north will not support Tinubu. Following the statement, the chairman of the board of trustees of ACF, Bashir Al-Hatu, and the national secretary Murtala Aliu announced his suspension. However, some northern groups condemned the decision, describing it as unjust and politically motivated. The groups are the Coalition of Northern Groups, Northern Youth Council of Nigeria, and the Arewa Youth Consultative Council. And lastly, the People Democratic Party, PDP, Governors Forum says the party remains a formidable force on the political landscape of Nigeria. Governor Bilal Muhammad of Bauchi State and chairman of the forum stated these at the end of its meeting on Saturday in Jos. Mr. Muhammad said that the party will soon overcome all its challenges. Other than that, the minor setbacks will soon be over. He called on lovers of PDP and Nigerians in general not to lose hope in the party. And that ends the weekend review news. Now back to Balarabe Lawal Zaria for the continuation of the program.
Thank you very much, Zinatu, for the news update, and we wish you a splendid night. Good night. Now, the review of the week's major events. Our first report, Dr. Ismail Anchau is a lecturer with Kaduna Polytechnic, analyst and public commentator, reacted to the corruption situation in Nigeria. In his interview with Fortune's radio correspondent, Aliyu Ibrahim Hadis.
Corruption has been identified as one of the bedevil factors affecting growth and development of any nation. Corruption did not only cripple development, but also affects the moral or the morality of leaders. Corruption can be seen in the Debt Report Management Commission, which categorically, based on its statistics, exposed some states with high rate of debts. Most of these data states are northern states. The report further indicates how the state ended paying debt from their monthly allocation from the federal government, though leaving them with very little or no money to execute capital projects. In the attempt to expose the danger of their indebtedness and its consequences, in an interview, Fortune's correspondent interviewed a lecturer, public analyst, and a commentator, both national and international, Dr. Ismail Anchau.
It is unfortunate that the corruption has entered into the fabric of Nigerians. It is so catastrophic that Nigeria is no longer even at that position of being the largest economy in Africa. It is around third or fourth now because of the effect of this corruption. It is in Nigeria that you had that snake swallowed or stole 70 million. It is in Nigeria that you had a monkey stole 36 million. So it is unfortunate that corruption has reached this particular level. And all this poverty we are seeing, all these negative economic indices, all these negative developmental parameters are as a result of this corruption. It is most unfortunate. So the former president is speaking the truth. So it's imperative to make sure that they are having free hands. ICPC, EFCC are having free hands to actually execute people. But we've seen many cases.
Similarly, recently, former President Olusegun Obasanjo was heard describing the nation's indebtedness as too outrageous. Following that, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu criticized his statement and debunked it as untrue. Taking this into cognizance, the future of Nigeria remains elusive. I am Aliyu Ibrahim Hadis reporting for Fortune's Radio News Weekend Review.
Thank you, Aliyu Ibrahim Hadis, with that report. Nasiba Ismail Abdullahi is a reporter with Fortune's Radio Kaduna. She has highlights on Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalle, the Minister of State for Defense, on his official engagement to Saudi Arabia.
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is the host to the other nations under a coalition of other participating countries, provide skills training on counter-terrorism, and as well as provide improved modern technique with a special focus on troops capacity building in fighting insurgency. The Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalle, said he was in Riyadh to consolidate Nigeria-Saudi Arabia existing fraternity in the area of security architecture. Dr. Matawalle used the opportunity of the visit to call for enhanced intelligence sharing among member nations, which he said is vital in the fight against insurgency and armed banditry. He recommended the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for seeing it necessary to partner with Saudi Arabia in the fight against insurgency. Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalle is expected to have met with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. That has been the report. Nusaiba Ismail Abdullahi for Weekend Review.
Thank you very much, Nusaiba Ismail Abdullahi. Our third report, The opposition parties in Zamfara State criticized the entire conduct and arrangements of the election, describing it as one that lacks credibility. Fortune's radio correspondent Hadi Bawatsape had discussion with Salmanu Yakubu Kubau, political analyst, on the credibility or otherwise of the election.
The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has won all the 14 local government council chairmanship election in Zamfara, despite the series of allegations and disputes during the exercise across the state. The chairman Zamfara State Independent Electoral Commission, Malam Balarabe, who announced the result, noted that PDP has won all the 14 chairmanship positions in the state. In their separate response about the election, opposition parties in the state have emphasized their concern on the exercise, saying there are different level problems about the issue. We need an urgent attention by sources concerned. In his response, the spokesperson of APC, Idris, said his party has decided not to participate in the election from the beginning because of non-compliance with the electoral laws by the State Independent Electoral Commission. Meanwhile, an investigation showed that the electorate were resulted from the polling units, leaving the electoral officers along with election material during the exercise. A Kaduna-based public commentator, analyst Malam Salman Yakubu, said the prevalence of irregularities is not only in Zamfara, but it happened in every state of the federation, whereby the ruling parties used its power to manage their rallies and sought positions.
Initially, we can say it's a general problem of Nigeria, because if you can observe each and every state, these are what is happening in each and every state. When it is an APC that is ruling the state, you discover that the APC will win all the election of the state. Equally in Zamfara state, in the PDP that are the ruling party. That was the reason why they used that opportunity and the chances to rig all the election in order to achieve some of their targets. One of the targets that they are targeting is, one, they want to overrule all the chairmen that belong to the states, because the money that will be coming directly into their accounts.
The analyst said INEC should conduct the local government council election with us to bring to an end all the challenges facing electoral process from the local government levels in the country.
Each and every CCOM commissioner and the chairman of the CCOMs are nominated by the governor of the state. Therefore, he has every right to control them. But when it is INEC that are conducting the election, there is no way that a governor will give an instruction to the INEC staff to do what is not good for their masses.
However, Senate necessary measures must to enforce civilization and also to promote the lost glory of the national electoral system for the improvement of good governance in the country. I am Hadi Bawatsape, reporting for Fortune's Radio Weekend Review.
Thank you very much, Hadi Bawatsape, with that report. And now, our fourth report. It was also during the week the world marks the 2024 International Children's Day. Fortune's correspondent Hafsat Ibrahim Ali engaged engineer Muhammad Garba Garin Gabas, a lecturer with Jigawa State Polytechnic, where he expressed his own view regarding the day.
According to the statement by UNICEF, the comprehensive report provides an in-depth review of the current condition affecting Nigeria, nearly 110 million children and adolescents, offering important insight to guide policy and investment decisions aimed at improving the lives of the nation's youngest citizens. It also said the updated development in Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and National Bureau Statistics with technical support from UNICEF present both the progress made in key areas and significant challenges that remain. Following this development, we interviewed a lecturer from Jigawa State Polytechnic, Engineer Muhammad Garba Garin Gabas, who shed more light on the issue.
The real situation that's happening here in northern Nigeria with regards to the children of nowadays is lack of education. Most of the children are roaming about, many of them roaming about without proper Western and Arabic education too. So the situation is pathetic. If you look at the children roaming about, going about, those who are not going to schools, is pathetic here somewhere in northern Nigeria. Even the youth also are not going for the Western education and the proper Islamic education. They roam about looking for food. Poverty is one of the factors affecting the children going to school and even the youth also. So the government should wake up with policies that will assist and help those who cannot reach the educational sector or cannot go to schools, especially in the villages.
Engineer Muhammad Garba Garin Gabas also called on federal government and the state to invest in education sector. I'm Hafsat Ibrahim Ali reporting for Fortune's Weekend Review.
Thank you very much, Hafsat, with that report. Now, let us go and see the review of weeks on sports major matches with sports engineer Ibrahim Hamza from our sport desk.
On sport today, Nigeria has qualified for the 2025 AFCON alongside with Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Algeria, the Congo, Senegal, Egypt, and Angola. Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast, Gabon, Uganda, South Africa, Tunisia, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. Zambia, Mali, Comoros, Sudan, Benin, Tanzania, Botswana, and Mozambique all qualify for the AFCON 2025, which will hold at Morocco. Manchester City has lost against Tottenham with a 4-0. This is their fifth loss in a row. In tennis, Italy will face Netherlands in Davis Cup final, which will hold in Malaga, Spain. In another story, Formula 1 champion Verstappen crowned winner in Las Vegas. That's sport for today.
And with this report, we come to the end of this week's review of major events. On behalf of the production officer, Ibrahim Dosara, Balarabe Zaria, that stood in for him, thanking you for listening.